Working with a boss who doesn't like you can be extremely challenging and emotionally draining. You might feel like you're walking on eggshells, worrying about making mistakes and being judged harshly. This can lead to feelings of frustration and hopelessness. But the good news is that there are strategies you can use to manage or even mitigate the situation. By taking proactive measures and staying focused on your professional goals, you can make sure that your career isn't held back by a manager with a negative opinion of you. Don't think the worst. It is typical for humans to take a pessimistic view of situations, and in this case, it may just be possible that you are creating an issue that isn't there. Your boss may not be making eye contact, conversing with you, or laughing at your jokes because they are experiencing a lot of pressure, not because they don't like you. Particularly if you've just started working with them, don't read too much into your manager's attitude. Don't go into a state of panic and start to overshare or follow your boss around incessantly. Excessive unwanted attention may cause your manager to distance themselves even more. Your manager may not be displaying outright hostility, and one or two of the following behaviours may not be a sure sign that your manager doesn't like you, but a cluster of these signs on a consistent basis could be a red flag. Constantly criticising or nitpicking your work. No interest in any conversational topics other than work. Being more closely managed than others, including micromanagement. Lack of eye contact and other negative body language signals. Noticeable differences in your treatment compared to your co-workers. Absence of direct communication and avoidance. Lack of feedback. No opportunities given to voice your opinion. Publicly shaming your mistakes. Deliberately excluding you from important conversations or meetings, or not asking for your input. Choosing a clearly less favourable course of action than the one you have suggested. Never praising your work. Revoking privileges. More stringent application of workplace rules than others receive. Constantly moving the goalposts or expectations. Assigning you tasks that are beneath your skill set or seemingly have little value. Pairing you with more trusted co-workers for straightforward assignments. Being passed up for promotions or projects despite having the qualifications and experience. Excluding you from small talk or other social behaviours. Passive-aggressive comments or belittling. Denial of professional development or other career opportunities. Obstruction from connecting with their manager or other senior people in the organisation. The first step in dealing with a boss who doesn't like you is to try and understand why the situation has arisen. There could be many different factors at play. For example, your manager may not like you because they're facing negative emotions or stress from their own personal life. Your boss may also have a negative opinion of you if there have been past conflicts. Or alternatively, your manager may have something against the way you work. This could be a clash of personalities, a difference in how you approach tasks, or how you communicate. Maybe they don't think you're being productive, or they disagree with your decisions. They might think you're not getting along with other employees and that you're not a team player. It's also possible that they think you're not taking the initiative or that you're not showing enough enthusiasm for your job. Whatever the reason, it's important to take a step back and figure out why your manager may not be happy with you. Once you know the cause, you can start working on improving it and building a better relationship with your manager. Address the issue. Confronting your manager if they don't like you can be tricky. Before you take any action, it's important to try and identify the issues that might be causing tension. This might involve talking to a trusted colleague or looking back over any performance reviews or feedback that you've had. Once you have an idea of the issues, it's time to confront your boss. Try to keep the conversation professional and focus on the facts. Don't accuse your manager of not liking you, but rather focus on the specific issues that you feel are causing tension. Explain how you've tried to address these issues and what you would like to see happen in the future. Reassure your boss of your commitment to the job. It's important to ensure they know that you are there to do the best job possible. Remember, it's possible to have a productive dialogue with your supervisor even if they don't like you. By approaching the conversation with a professional attitude, you can take the first steps to improve the relationship. Make note of any conversations like this in case you need them for future reference. Accept that your manager is your manager. Your relationship with your manager may not be so good, or maybe you feel like they don't have the necessary skills for their position. You may be overly ambitious and feel like you should be in charge. You may even disrespect the lines of authority and attempt to circumvent them, refusing to acknowledge their power and authority over your work. This can cause tension, disharmony, and even conflict. If this is the case, you are unlikely to win and it may even derail your career. An organisation is not going to support an employee that is damaging morale, creating issues, and overstepping bounds. If you do believe you could do a better job than your boss, the wisest thing to do is to check your ego. Remember that your manager might have certain skills or experience that you don't, or you haven't recognised. Accept your situation, be professional, and start managing up to prove your worth to your boss. Respect your manager. Your boss may have a negative opinion of you, but that doesn't mean you should be disrespectful towards them. It's important to remember that even though your boss may not like you, they are still your senior. This means that you should respect your manager and follow their instructions as closely as possible. By respecting your boss, you'll be showing them that you're a team player and that you're a valuable part of the office environment. Keep your emotions under control. When you're working with a boss that doesn't like you, it's important to keep your emotions in check. If you become overly emotional in the workplace, your manager may see you as a liability, meaning that you could end up receiving lower performance ratings and fewer opportunities for advancement. Remember that your boss's negative attitude towards you is not a reflection of your abilities or your worth as a person. It's simply a result of your supervisor's personal feelings towards you. Although the situation may be difficult and frustrating, it is essential that you stay professional and keep your composure. The key is to remain calm and focus on the task at hand. Make sure you maintain a positive attitude and avoid getting into arguments or trying to defend yourself. Your goal should be to do your best to demonstrate your value and show your boss that you're an asset to the team. Try and increase their confidence in you. If your boss doesn't like you, it can be difficult to be good at your job. However, there are steps you can take to improve your relationship. Consider the possibility that their disconnect might stem from them not having confidence in you. If this is the case, you can attempt to rectify your boss's unfair assessment by clarifying their expectations, increasing their confidence in your ability, and boosting their belief that you'll deliver. Stop talking and start listening. Demonstrate your competence and reliability by having frequent, casual check-ins to reinforce the idea that you're on top of things, while also giving your boss an opportunity to make corrections if required. Ask questions to clarify their expectations and be transparent when you're struggling. Finally, engage in conversations about work issues to strengthen your connection. Pay attention to which topics get their attention and energy and create an opportunity to tap into that. Work on your professional development. If you're constantly enhancing your skills and knowledge and staying on top of the latest industry trends, you'll be hard to ignore, regardless of your boss's feelings towards you. It also ensures you're maintaining skills and knowledge currency that will be useful if you do end up deciding to exit your current position. Be good at your job. Even if your boss doesn't like you, you can still help them be successful in their role. The most important thing is to stay out of their way and focus on being productive and reliable. That means doing your job well and meeting deadlines. Additionally, you should remain professional and respectful at all times, even if your boss isn't treating you the same way. Offer to help out with tasks, take on extra responsibilities, and look for ways to add value. This will show your boss that you're dedicated and motivated. It will also demonstrate that you're willing to put the team's success ahead of your own needs and interests. Finally, focus on building relationships with the rest of the team. This will make the workplace more collaborative and productive. Even though it can be tough to work in an environment where your boss doesn't like you, a positive attitude and hard work can help make a difference. Make them look good and manage upwards. Make their life easier, be easy to manage, and make your boss look good by doing the following. Ask for help if you need it. Don't try and wing it if you're struggling. Your manager will appreciate you reaching out early rather than making a mess of things later. Keep them in the loop. Managers do not like surprises, so keep them fully up to date. Find out how your manager likes to be updated and accommodate them. For example, they may want to be told immediately or prefer a daily or weekly update. Do they prefer face-to-face communication or email or instant message? Learn what are the things they want to be told of straight away and what can wait. Meet your deadlines every time. Better yet, meet them early and allow time for feedback and revision if possible. Signal to your manager that you're progressing as planned and that meeting the deadline will be achieved. That will be one less thing for them to worry about. Pay attention to the details. Ensure every task is completed to the highest standard. Ask for and openly accept honest feedback from your boss and other experienced colleagues on an ongoing basis to continually up your game. Tell your ideas to your manager first. If they don't run with it, accept it and move on. Don't then seek others in the organisation to tell. You may not know your manager's reasons for not taking up the suggestion. They may have information that you don't. Telling others will just look like you're trying to undermine or circumvent your manager. Demonstrate loyalty. Don't badmouth your boss. Even if you disagree, do so in private with your manager. Then move on and show a front of unity and agreement. Gossiping will get back to your manager and create a more toxic environment. You, as the subordinate and instigator, will rarely come off as the winner in these situations. Don't put them in a situation where they have to defend or make excuses for you. If your behaviour causes a situation where they have to defend you, their colleagues and superiors may wonder if they have an adequate control of their team and its effectiveness. Don't manage back. That is, if an issue arises, don't just report it back to your manager and leave it with them to resolve. Come armed with possible solutions. This will demonstrate proactiveness, maturity, and a commitment to resolving the problem. Even if your proposed solutions aren't used, your manager will appreciate the effort you went to in order to think the problem through and explore the options available. Identify your manager's style and adapt. Looking at what attributes your manager values and praises in other people is a simple and effective way of developing some of those characteristics for yourself. Ask yourself some of the following questions to assist. Does your manager prefer information delivered as an executive summary with a high level of detail? How does your manager like to communicate? For example, face-to-face, email, phone, instant messenger, or video call. Adapt your communication channels to suit. How does your manager act with their own manager? This may give you clues about how to conduct yourself. What tone or level of formality does your manager like to communicate with? Match it and take yours up one notch so you don't sound overly familiar. What do your colleagues do that elicits praise or negative feedback from your manager? Does your manager make decisions by themselves or want input from the team? Don't offer your opinions if they're not welcome, that will cause irritation. Find any differences in style and adapt yours to match, or points of friction and eliminate them. A positive way to try and resolve issues with a boss who doesn't like you is to demonstrate your professionalism. If you're constantly following the rules and making sure to maintain a high standard of work and conduct, it makes it more difficult for your boss to hold a rational negative opinion of you. This means you should avoid gossiping with your colleagues and follow organisational rules as closely as possible. Additionally, you should make sure to dress appropriately, arrive to work on time, maintain a calm and friendly attitude, and commit to performing each task with 100% effort. By following all of these rules, you'll be demonstrating your professionalism despite everything and giving your manager fewer logical reasons for disliking you. Build relationships with your colleagues. As you're trying to mend your relationship with your manager, be sure to nurture your relationships with your co-workers. Invest in your connections with colleagues. If they respect and have confidence in you, their impressions will become known to your boss. It's hard for your manager to keep up a poor impression of you if your peers consider you to be a major help to the team. It's also important to identify other potential supporters in the organisation outside of your manager. Is there a past supervisor who you can look to for guidance and support? Do you have the opportunity to collaborate with different teams on cross-functional activities? If this is the case, then these connections can limit the risk of being shunned if you can't restore your relationship with your boss. Avoid gossip. No matter how frustrated you might be with your boss's behaviour towards you, gossiping about the situation or bad-mouthing them to co-workers is harmful, dangerous, and reflects poorly on you. As well as being unprofessional, you could get yourself into trouble with your boss or human resources and make a bad situation even worse. You also provide your manager with even more reasons to dislike you, and you will usually not come out the winner conducting yourself in this way. If you need to discuss your work situation with someone, confide in an external resource such as friends, family, a career counsellor, or a trusted mentor. Do not download your troubles to co-workers who may not have your best interests at heart. Stay positive. Dealing with a boss who doesn't like you is challenging, and it can be easy to get overwhelmed by negative emotions. At times like these, it's important to stay positive and remember that there are people out there who like you and think highly of you. Make an effort to spend time with those individuals and remind yourself that your boss's negative opinion of you is not a reflection of your worth as a person. It's important to remember that you are in control of your attitude and outlook. One way to stay positive in this situation is to focus on your strengths and accomplishments. Remind yourself of your value and the contributions you are making to the team. Do you have an ex-supervisor to talk to who can give you a much-needed reminder of your past work successes and positive attributes? Try and maintain a healthy work-life balance by taking regular breaks and scheduling time for activities that make you feel good. Knowing when to move on from a manager who doesn't like you can be tricky. After all, you don't want to jump ship too soon without doing everything possible to rectify the situation. But it's important to recognise when it's time to go. The first indication is your boss's behaviour. If they're constantly criticising you or ignoring your suggestions, it could be a sign that they don't see you as a valuable member of the team. Another sign is if you're constantly feeling stressed out or anxious about your job and it never gets any better. This could be a signal that your boss doesn't have your back. Finally, if your manager is actively trying to sabotage your career, it's time to move on. This could include things like withholding information, denying opportunities you deserve, and damaging your reputation. If you're in this sort of situation, it's probably time to start looking for a new job to preserve your well-being and professional standing. At the very least, have your resume, e-portfolio and LinkedIn profile up to date in case matters do take a turn for the worst. You may consider taking your concern to your manager's manager or the Human Resources Department, but such claims can be difficult to prove. Carefully weigh up the possible consequences of doing this and the likelihood of success without concrete evidence of outright discrimination before proceeding. Perhaps discuss this course of action with a trusted mentor first for an independent opinion. Studies show that having a good connection with your manager is one of the most essential aspects of your job. If your boss has no trust in you, you may miss out on advantageous opportunities or be on the receiving end of micromanagement. You can try to assess your manager's opinion of you by outperforming their expectations and demonstrating your capability. If they don't seem to like you, then stop speaking and start listening. Endeavour to understand the world from their perspective, and eventually they may begin to warm up to you. Don't give up. Modify your approach and see if you can create a positive connection. It's important to remember that your boss's negative opinion towards you is not a reflection of your worth as a person. With the right attitude and these strategies in mind, you can come out on top in this difficult situation.